regardless, I mean, I think we're down to our final top 4 teams. They deserve to get here, and I'm curious to see what they're going to have in store for us. It's definitely fun to watch some players on stream that we haven't seen before because obviously in the past year we saw the same teams pretty much in the finals every single week for the most part. But TCG on defense here, Underwater getting us started. Let's see what Genesis.
We knew we were going to do that. We knew we were going to do that.
On defense, let's see what Genesis has in store for us here on the offense. Kiko up top on the Winston. Be looking to come out with a little bit of that early dive pressure.
We're definitely going to be seeing some dive here. I do like seeing Schuster on the Soldier already, and they're going to be going with a little bit of a forward hold, just playing up top. And again, when you see these dive-style defenses, they do like to play a little forward, like to take control of this rooftop here.
Versace looking to get a little bit of pressure in the back line, but Kiko and Arc going to pull back, and they're probably going to retreat off the high ground here to the archway itself. So not a bad start for Genesis whatsoever here, but Hegler almost getting taken down. He actually does go down. Not going to be a good start for these guys. Going to have to back off for the time being. Like you said, maybe going to see a little bit of an aggression come out here from this dive defense, but doesn't seem to be the case.
They have definitely gotten halted now, as we're going to be seeing if Ursats can take on Javian up top, who definitely has a little bit of an advantage at the moment, but they're just kind of flying around, and Discord goes out onto Javian, so he gets taken down pretty low. Not enough follow-up for the kill just yet, but he's going in for it now, and that's 2 kills already on the board for Genesis Esports. Can they find the last few? It seems like that will be an easy job for them.
They should be able to. That was just a split-up defense. We saw TGC bring both the Winston and the Diva way into the back line, and it left their own backline pretty vulnerable along with the DPS. So easy cleanup coming out there for Genesis. Should be able to secure this checkpoint. I'm not sure if we're going to see... Oh, Kitch actually finds a nice kill there onto Ursats. They are going to dive onto this one. They know they have the numbers advantage. No ultimates to really work with at this point, Curix. With that in mind, Fix ready to go with his Transcendence. He's going to go ahead and pop this one. Pulse Bomb's out there as he finds a bit of damage there from Javion, but not quite going to be able to find the kill. Sound Barrier from the defense. Both sides actually going to break it out. Now a Dragon Blade. Hegler going to try to clean this one up. Arc going to go down here, and that should be checkpoint secured in a matter of moments.
Just cutting him right up, and Ursats does manage to get that recall, so he's not going to go down. He's going to go forward and be able to put some, or actually at least get into a good position so we can start putting some early flank pressure out at the moment, and that'll give a lot of space for the rest of his team. And so far, Genesis Esports has definitely gotten the job done on their attacks so far. They've gotten halted a couple of times, and it's really just been because TGC has just kind of split up a little bit too much, I would say. They've been a little bit too spread at certain times where they get aggressive and not really together anymore.
Bomber Sots, they do get a D-Mech there onto Bread, so it's going to leave them quite vulnerable up top to Kiko as they clean this one up on the defensive side of things. But like you said, Curix, they looked really good here on offense to get it underway, so they still have 350 to work with. Not really anything in the pipeline, though, so it could be dangerous for the next couple of team fights. Going to go and probably try to force out that Transcendence, maybe a couple of other ultimates if they're lucky.
Oh, Ursats once again takes down Javian with the help of the Zenyatta Discord. But there it is, Arc coming out of the mech just as Kitch actually takes down Ursats, so they're just going to eliminate that Tracer pressure. They should be able to have an advantage here as they're going to go ahead and push out, zone out everybody else. They should find these last couple of kills. Kiko with great positioning in that fight.
Not a big fan of that tactical visor up top from the 76 either, Curix. Didn't really find a whole lot, not a whole lot of targets to connect with. They did force it out and that self-destruct, so they're going to feel a little bit more confident moving into this next fight, but they're still about 25% shy of that Dragon Blade. Transcendence still 30% away here, so with 3 minutes to go, they might be forced to go in with kind of another drive push. As they've got both support ultimates ready to go here on defense. Let's see what they can make of it here. As Genesis looking to get onto the high ground potentially, but well guarded by the tanks.
Their flankers are just trying to find anything that they can to start this fight off right, but Bread already going to be losing his mech, and they don't really have those support options that you were talking about that the defense has earlier. And as Fix gets jumped on, they could easily find this kill, but the damage comes out. Fix makes sure that he actually gathers himself up a Transcendence. He's going to be safe for now, but it's back and forth.
Yeah, they're still pummeling them into the back here. Kiko with the Primal Rage. It will expire, so he's going to be left a little vulnerable potentially, but no, has the support from the Lucio. It's a Lucio and Winston. Dual mirror matchup there, and Kiko continuing with the aggressive playstyle. He's going to be in a lot of trouble. He gets taken down. maybe an opportunity here for Bread and company to move on forward. 2 minutes to go, but a DMEC way in the back forces Bread to use that self-destruct here, so they're not going to have that at their disposal. But again, gotta remember, both support ultimates still haven't been used here by TGC.
They've been able to hang on to that, and in that fight, that's so important that they were able to do that, because they also forced out a Transcendence and still won that fight pretty handily. So now as they're looking to try to continue this here, they're still finding some kills. Pressure onto the Zenyatta in the back, but he has his Transcendence, and he lands the kill as well. They can still hold on to both of these support ults.
That is absolutely massive, as they're coming up on all 6 of their ultimates for this next engagement. Under 90 seconds to go here. Transcendence had been used previously by Fix. They do have a sound barrier. It's really going to be up to what Hegler can get done. But again, it's going to be into a Transcendent sound barrier. I don't know. What do they need to do here?
I mean, first of all, they have to get Kitch's Transcendence out. Hegler has dove. I mean, Ursats has been in there as well, trying to deal with Kitch, but every time he's either been supported or he's been able to win the 1v1, and they need to be able to get that Transcendence out early, or else, you know, they're going to pull out a Blade, and there's going to be an answer.
Here he goes. Here's the Dragon Blade Transcendence. Going to be dropped here. Going to hold on to that sound barrier. Self-destruct. Going to force him off the high ground. Finds the kill on the Hegler before he can do anything. A tactical visor, well protected as well. Into the back line. Is going to rack up a couple of kills. And they will continue with the aggressive play here. 35 seconds to go. Sound barrier ready to go.
On both sides, too. So now I'm looking at these flankers. I mean, they completely changed up their composition. Ursat's not even on the Tracer anymore. He's instead going to go over to the Roadhog, so they're going to be playing a kind of triple tank setup. Ursat's has been known to play a lot of Roadhog in the past, so this isn't a crazy swap up, but it is interesting to see that they don't want the Tracer in this particular situation. And now we're going to be seeing Hegler going around the backside. That's already a pick onto the sound barrier. The Hello Halo goes down, so this has really opened things up with that one kill.
Might have taken them 5 minutes, Yurix, but like you said, they opened up with 2 kills onto the supports, pretty much shut that defensive hold down right from the get-go. Maybe the Tracer can contest. I think they have an opportunity. No, going to be dropped by the hook immediately, as Halo needs to skip out of this one. He's not going to get out of here, and they're going to look to follow up with this. Try to take advantage of that high ground with the Soldier 76, as Hegler, of course, made that change over. But Yurix, a minute 15, not a lot of time to work with. Kiko moving over to the Orisa and Arc now on that Roadhog.
So we are seeing a lot of swap ups now. And due to the fact that Kiko has made the swap over to the Orisa, they should have some kind of advantage, but they send that right into the back line. They don't find any kills with it, but it displaces the front line, and Arc goes down because of it.
That was big. Great positioning coming out there from the offense as they look to capitalize, but still, Schuster is uncontested up top. Need to deal with this Soldier 76, who's tearing them apart right now. Here's 40 seconds to go. Be back and forth, but it looks like, for the most part, TGC going to be able to make the hold. They have that shorter respawn, and Genesis looking for one last attempt.
Oh, the boop displacing Ursats. There's been a lot of displacement of these Roadhogs in particular, and that's certainly going to help them in the long run so that they can't get those follow-up kills. But as on defense, they do, again, still have that Orisa. Should help them out for the most part. Having that shield might prevent them from getting picked off by Ursats in some scenarios, but even still, we're seeing support ults up on both sides, and that's going to be the sound barrier already committed by Halo.
A little late. They don't manage to connect onto Soldier 76. He is taken down regardless. Transcendence ready to go from Kitch. Gonna wait to hold on to this one. He's going to drop it right there. Coming out from both sides here, so going to be a little bit of a stalemate for the time being, but no, Ursats looks for the kill onto Halo, not quite going to find it, now going to break off the whole hog. Can he find anything with this one? Has the support of the sound barrier. They pick up the kill. Kitch going to drop as well here, because they are going to look to complete this map. No one is here to contest. JVN coming on the Tracer, but not quite going to get there in time. It looks like Genesis Esports finish it out in overtime.
That's huge that they were able to finish that. I mean, both times in overtime. They looked okay on the first point, but then, you know, continuing on, got halted. I mean, completely stopped and shut down at that second stage where a lot of time was stolen away. While the third stage wasn't too bad, they just didn't have the time bank to work with in the beginning to really have a lot of time to work with. So very, very fortunate for them. Very strong play to get themselves into that final spot so that they can finish the map out. Now, as they do go over to defense, I'm curious to see what they're going to play, because they did play something a little off color, I'd say, for their offensive finish. You know, having Ursats going off of the Tracer and then going over to a Roadhog and having the Soldier for the most part in there as well. Not playing a flanker with that dive setup, I wouldn't say it is, you know, incredibly regular, but they weren't really getting the most you know, out of their flankers initially, and I think it did help a lot when they did make those swaps, especially with Ursats, because, you know, when he did actually flop over to that Roadhog, when he did make that swap, they were finding valuable picks that they just weren't getting off of the Genji Tracer combo before, especially the Genji Hegler. I think was really having a hard time on the Genji, especially when trying to deal with Kitch. In a lot of situations, Kitch would actually win that 1v1, even won the 1v1 against Ursats' Tracer as well, where he caught him off guard with a right click. So dealing with the Zenyatta in the backline was a problem. Now as they go over to defense, it looks like we're going to see a Widowmaker from Hegler, and I'm interested to see what position they want to play with this. I imagine with the Mercy, they're going to be playing right where the Mercy's at right now once they do make it to the kind of bridge area in that archway. But we'll have to see if they want to play him all the way back there and what kind of protection they're going to have for him at the end, because that's another point to make as well. Can Javian get there on the Genji? Are they going to be able to put some pressure on this Widow in the backline?
They are going to recognize the threat right away. Halo going to come out of the spawn, so he's going to continue with this one. Does get spotted up top. He's going to back inside the base and look to change up what he's actually going to go. Let's see what he wants to move towards. It's going to be that Lucio, of course. Should have expected that. But like you said, curious to see what Hegler is able to do here. I mean, they didn't really have much of a high ground hold at the start, as he wasn't really in the midst of this fight. So it's going to be up to Javion to get into that back line and try to do something about it, as he currently is.
So far, a couple of opportunities presented to Hegler, but nothing really finished out just yet, and it seems like they're just kind of biding their time. The attacking side going right in, and already we're seeing the Winston Kiko taking so much initial pressure, that headshot, and now it's Hegler's turn to come alive.
Oh man, Arc also going to be taken out of the mech. That will spell doom for these guys. Hello, I'm Halo. May be able to get out of this one. Is going to be spotted. No, he's going to drop as well. So you couldn't really ask for much better of a start here from the side of Genesis Esports. Obviously, they had a bit of a rough patch midway through the map on offense here, but off to a solid start indeed, as it looks like the Winston Chazzy is going to try to get a little aggressive, backs off for the time being, but Infrasight ready to go. Kitch gets caught off guard as well, and Hurix, do they need to change something up at this point to deal with this Widowmaker? 90 seconds off the clock.
I think they need to find some way to deal with it, and I don't know if it necessarily needs to be a change up in the composition, but perhaps something different out of, you know, their players individually, and putting some pressure, forcing that coupling in the backline between the Mercy and the Widow to actually just, you know, be dealt with. I mean, they need to find some kind of answer to make sure that Hegler isn't just free shooting down into the archway like he is right now.
Well, Genji is going to have an opportunity to get up top. That Infrasight will actually expire here, but good pullback from the Winston as well. Kind of going to warrant not pushing in for the most part here. Bread going to lose his mech. This is the opportunity they're actually looking for here. They're going to drop the train sentence as well. Valkyrie comes out. They're into the back line. It's Kiko and Arc up top trying to deal with the Widowmaker in the back, as Hegler does manage to get to safety here. Kills are plentiful here for the side of TGC, who should honestly have this point in the bag. Chezzy is going to get rezzed up here by the Mercy still. They've got all 6 on the payload. They've got the Dragon Blade and Sound Barrier to work with if they need it, and it looks like they might go for it. Dragon Blade going to be unsheathed, looking for the Mercy in the back, finds the kill with the assistance of the Winston here, and that should be checkpoint secured.
That's actually a different look from TGC too, because without dealing with the Widow, they just forced all their pressure onto the front line. They kind of pulled the front line of Genesis forward and away from the Widow's sight lines, and then as soon as they had that opportunity, they jumped on it, they took advantage of it, they found those kills initially, and then just took that momentum forward. Was able to use the blade to just kind of find those last few kills and clean things up for themselves, but now as TGC looks to try to complete the map as their opposition has already done, they still need to find ways to deal with this Widowmaker that has not been swapped off of just yet.
First sight is ready to go, so we'll see if that's what they're waiting to just use right now. Schuster is going to be dropped, though, as they look to take advantage of the high ground. Not quite going to find anything with the self-destruct up top. coming out there from Bread, but still the payload is making a little bit of progress here. Now time for Hegler to come alive, finding the pick onto Arcurix, and more than likely should spell defeat for this team fight. 2:45 remaining.
Now we see Hegler taking a forward position, and as time winds down, you have to wonder, you know, what their chances are of actually getting past this second stage, because already we've seen, you know, these two teams really duke it out in this particular stage of the map. Seems very back and forth, and with Hegler, you know, on this Widowmaker, taking these different angles, making their approach even more difficult. This is the kind of thing that you really have to kind of worry about when you're watching a matchup like this.
Rassad's going to back off this one, playing it a little too close there as they look to match the high ground. 2:05 remaining. Quite a few ultimates at the ready here for TGC. Going to be into a Transcendence, so we'll see if Fix is going to be able to make use of it here. They're looking to make their approach right now. It's Jazzy in the back. He is Primal Rage, but no, Hegler finds the pick onto Kitch before he's able to save any of his teammates here. It's down to 2 members remaining. And what a pullback here from Genesis Esports. Looked a little rough to get things started, but with the Winston creating a lot of pressure in the backline, they pulled off.
And a very supported Widowmaker wins out in the duel as well. But now, again, just these kind of off angles that this Widowmaker's taking. It's forcing Defense Matrix out early. The Lucio's caught behind, did not take advantage of the Defense Matrix there. And there's an aggressive Blade coming out, looking for the Tracer. And Ursat's completely going to dodge it. And they still have vision on him. They'll find the kill very easily. So a 6v5 advantage for Genesis.
Not a big fan of that one. I don't think you were either here. I mean, he was looking for the Tracer. He had no support at his back. Kitch had a Transcendence, but he was absolutely nowhere near the rest of his teammates. And 60 seconds remaining. This is looking painful here for TGC. I mean, not a bad start by any means, but Genesis Esports, the Widowmaker, has been untouched all game long. Shots with plenty of pressure as well. They finally do pull a few kills back. Maybe this is their best chance to look for the second objective.
And this is where they pull out that kind of more desperate Sombra pick to bring out as well, just to try to deal with Ursat's Tracer so that they have more ability to deal with the D.Va as well of Bread. That's a big pickup for them. I do like that swap, but the question is if it's going to be able to get anything done. We saw a last-minute swap work out for Genesis. Can it get the job done? As there's only one more opportunity for TGC now, as they're going to be losing their Lucio with just precious seconds left, but it looks like he might actually make it out.
Very rough. Jevion is coming up on that EMP. Can he get it in time? It looks like that's going to be the case, but they need to get someone on the payload. There's 3 members in the vicinity of it. It looks like Halo will be able to touch it in time, but they really don't have much to deal with Hegler up top, other than the Winston, who now goes down. They will find the remaining couple of kills. Arc going to come in, try to contest. He will be able to. Gets the self-destruct off. Kitch as well with the Transcendence, going to try to hold the line for the time being, but Hurix, I just don't see this happening. It looks like Genesis Esports are going to be able to come through with this in a matter of moments. Overtime ticks down, and they're going to find map number 1.
Team's really struggling with dealing with the opponent's backline, it seems. I mean, both sides, really. We initially saw some trouble dealing with Kitch, and then right on the other side, it was Hegler, who was one of the guys struggling with it at first. And then all of a sudden was the guy that was everybody else was having trouble dealing with. And here's the Blade right in the beginning. This is where he got some value out of it, but everything after that was just not as much.
We're going to be heading to Hollywood for the second map here. See what these teams have in store for us. And probably not going to see much Widowmaker, but I mean, if Hegler's, you know, if he's feeling confident about it, I definitely would like to see that come out from him again. That was definitely an impressive display. Genesis Esports go up 1-0 in this best-of-3 semifinal. Hurix, though, TGC, you want to see anything change up from their end to be able to maybe push this to a Game 3 on Numbani?
Well, I mean, a Numbani map would be very, very interesting. It would look kind of similar to that first map, though. I mean, even Hollywood is one that I'd be a little afraid of, because when you have that kind of backline high ground control, that's when you're giving space to Hegler on the Widow, and they already show that they struggle with dealing with that, especially when they can't work their flankers in. So, you know, dive-wise, I think they look pretty solid. You saw them playing straight-up dive on defense. It looked pretty solid for them. You know, it was allowing Kitch to play that Zenyatta incredibly well. We saw them playing off of their tanks pretty well as well, especially in the first stage initially. But and then later on towards the end of the second. But I don't know, in a map like this, if they can't deal with Hegler again on defense, if he plays something like a Soldier or even a Widow, especially on that second point, and it becomes a situation where he gets, you know, insulated and he has the support backup once again, they might show the same problems that we already saw in Dorado, with that inability to get up there onto the high ground, into the back line, and deal with a Widow from Hegler.
It will be Genesis on defense to get things underway here, so a bit of swap of sides. Could be a quick one. I mean, TGC, they showed a little bit of promise on offense to get it underway here, but were really just stopped in their tracks very hard towards that end of that second checkpoint. So could be a quick 2-0. We'll see if TGC can pull it back and move it to game number 3 on Numbani. On the upper side of the bracket, we do have Atmosphere Esports taking on Nalmuk, I believe is how you say that. Nalmuk, I think, placed top 8 last week, and then Atmosphere Esports has quite the lineup, if I do say so myself. You did point that out to me earlier here, so I'm excited.
I mean,
to see
it's almost
Atmosphere...
literally the same roster as Savages, if not the same roster. I think there's...
That's okay. That was the team name for it, Savages.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I mean, it's pretty much just the Savages roster. So, I mean, that's what you're looking at. So,
well, Atmosphere Esports changing it up from the Savages. Curious to know why they made the name change. It doesn't help establish credibility when you make name changes. But regardless, looking to see if they make it into the finals, take on the winner here of this set. If it's going to be Genesis Esports, they're going to start out pretty hot. Hegler going to be on that Sombra to get things underway, or Sats on the Tracer once again.
Hegler right in the back line, and already we're seeing them deal with the Diva. This can be a problem going forward. When you have this Sombra, you can already just go in there, deal with the Diva, put them out of mech, and really slows down the attacks. We're going to see if they can actually deal with the Sombra or not. Hegler definitely going to be a pest throughout this, I would expect.
Oh man, they're going to start off hot here. Hegler doing the deed with the hacking. Kiko gonna go down here, and they just sweep them across the board. Absolutely demolished Hurex. Man, what a start for these guys.
Great hacks from the Sombra. Also, great job pinning them into that alleyway where they can get a lot of great damage off with their composition. I mean, you look across the board, and there's a lot of great options there for them when they put them into that position. TGC, I think, is really going to want to try to get onto the point quickly, get into a position where they can get onto high ground. They're doing just that. Schuster needs to get up top as quickly as possible. But if we see them counter dive onto Schuster, they need to find a way to make sure that he stays alive and healthy, or else they could lose him very early on.
They need this EMP. They're going to go ahead up top without it. Kitch is the first to fall. They drop the Primal Rage here from Chazzy. Gonna pretty much disperse them all in the back. Earthshatter comes down from Kiko. There's the EMP finally coming out as Hegler does get dropped here, but Hurex, it's just too much pressure coming out here. Ursatz is ripping these guys apart. They still have, actually just one now is actually, we do see Kitch make his way back into this just to go down once again immediately. Need to find a way to get their hands on this Tracer.
Well, that's a possible opening.
Change the names at the top, by the way.
Ooh, okay.
Thank you for pointing that out in chat. As we get back to the action here, Schuster ready to go with the tactical visor. An early transcendence coming out from Vix. Would have liked to see him hold on to that, but they are coming up on a sound barrier. They need that right now. It's going to come out from the offense here. Tactical visor now coming down from Schuster. There's the sound barrier coming out from the defense. They are down their trend, or excuse me, there's Zenyatta and Bread going to get picked off here as he does find a kill with the self-destruct, but it looks like TGC making their way onto this point A and more than likely going to grab it.
Really important pickup, dealing with the Tracer early. Ursatz not being in that fight created a massive opening for TGC to get in there, and Schuster, of course, dealing with him a second time as well. So pivotal stuff from the Soldier. It doesn't look like there's going to be any opportunity for Chazzy to actually get in there, and that's actually going to be the case as he pulls back. And I mean, so does Bread, who was itching to get in there, is just in the doorway, and we can see Hegler going forward, getting off some early pressure, trying to get another EMP going once again. But this is where that high ground control comes into effect. They don't have anything really taking advantage of it. I mean, you know, Fix isn't up there. He's just playing on the low ground, very far away. Still have some troubles dealing with that, perhaps, but they're not playing a composition that's going to deal with that. And there's the Graviton Surge coming out.
Self-destruct not even needed. They get the clean sweep themselves here, Fix. is going to back off of this one. The Graviton Surge was pretty much a done deal. Nice placement from Arc there. Jevion with that follow-up. 3 minutes to go here as they do actually find a very late kill on the Fix, as they are going to continue to push up with the payload here. It's nothing to really work with. I guess EMP ready to go here from Hegler. Let's see what they make of it.
I'm curious about, you know, where they're going to want to position this. He's going to want to go up top if he can, or get behind and then throw it up as soon as possible. He's got a great position here, just needs to make use of it, and there it goes out. They're going to find an easy kill onto the Zarya right off the bat, but they need to be quick about this, and still the offense is finding kills. They're still finding ways to shore up some of the problems that might have occurred with the Sombra, but Hegler is still sneaking around.
Yeah, it looks like they should be able to continue with this pressure. Remember, that spawn is so close here. They need to contest. Looks like Lucio is going to come through. Fix pops the Transcendence just to be safe. I don't think it was needed. A bit of miscommunication, perhaps. He thought he was going to get onto the payload and be the savior, but Lucio was already there. 2 minutes to go, though, so plenty of time, I guess, for a couple of regroups if TGC need it. But let's see what they can make of it. They've got a few ultimates. That Tactical Visor need to try to get up to that high ground and contest.
Definitely should be able to get some value out of it right now. I mean, they already used up their Transcendence. Fix pulling that out, like you said, maybe a bit too early. And because of that, it's a massive opening for the Soldier to find value with this ultimate. Unless, of course, he gets hacked out. We'll have to see what the pacing looks like from Hegler, what kind of damage he's going to be able to do dealing with this D.Va, but Schuster finds the kill.
That was beautiful coming out there from Arc as well. They speed boosted him into the fight. Get on the payload is Winston almost getting dropped. The Tactical Visor doesn't quite find a whole lot there for Schuster, but it looks like Moira going to go ahead and pop that ultimate here. Sound Barrier comes out for the defense. 110 on the board. Jevion connects on the bread. The whole hog though, where Sat's going to try to save the day if possible, but going to be into that defense matrix. He's not quite going to find a whole lot with it, and it should be checkpoint secured here for TGC.
They're going to be able to take it finally, but 2:20 on the clock remaining for this final stage, and they're still keeping Hegler on the Sombra here, trying to deal with this D.Va, and they also now have that same composition that we saw before where, you know, they're utilizing a triple tank into it, still running that, but Ursats is currently back on the Tracer, so they're running just that same 2-2-2 that we've been seeing for most of the map now, and EMP at the ready. Let's see if he can get in there. Looking for it at the moment, and will throw it out. He gets basically everybody.
Massive. Kiko not able to drop the hammer, and that's going to be another one team fight here for Genesis. They are going to be able to clean that one up off of the back of that EMP. Beautifully placed there by Hegler, like you had mentioned here. Now we're going to be sitting on a Transcendence into the next fight. Possibly have to worry about a Tactical Visor. We'll see how quickly Hegler can get back up to this EMP. 90 seconds to go.
So as we're jumping down from this high ground, Chazzy should be able to... Ooh! Well, now they're going to have a 5v6 as they jump down, but they might be able to deal with Jevion very quickly. They just jump right on top of him. The Discord was on him for a moment there, and it's going to be the Transcendence keeping them alive for the moment, but Genesis finding all the kills they'll probably need, and that's just the D.Va to start things off.
Ooh, Jazzy doesn't quite get back up top, but he is going to get to safety, trying to battle behind his shield, grabs the big health pack, and finds the kill onto Arc. Beautifully played there by the Winston. He still has a Primal Rage if needed, but Hegler, 50% on the EMP. We'll see if they're just going to continue to feed it to him. Kitch caught out of position as well. What are you doing, man? The rest of the squad wasn't there. Hurix, 35 seconds to go. One final attempt, and at that, they're going to have to win probably 2 team fights to try to secure the map. Schuster now makes a move over to the McCree, probably trying to deal with Ursats and Hegler here.
I would imagine that is going to be the case, but Hegler's positioning, like he likes to play at this mid to kind of longer range unless he absolutely has to, so Schuster shouldn't be able to do too much, but there it is. The Earthstrider coming down. They only take 1 kill off of it, but it is onto Hegler.
Massive props to Chazzy in the back. He single-handedly takes care of the McCree. Pulse bomb out. Javion going to take a bit of damage, but is going to be okay for the time being. They do mop this one up, Hurix, but like I said, still time to get a regroup here on the defensive side of things. You've got a Primal Rage, EMP coming up in a moment's time as well. Both tanks are on the point. This is looking like it should favor the defense ult-wise. We'll see what they can make of it here. Self-destruct comes out. There's the EMP. EMP Gonna help him a bit, but Egler gets taken down. Brett able to find that kill on the Halo here. They've got the Primal Rage out. They have use of the Transcendence. It's looking like the Moira is their last remaining hope with the ultimate, but the whole hog's out once again from Arcus. He's going to be able to clean this one up. The D.Va not quite there to save the day with the defense matrix. Urix Fix going to get taken down. Earthshatter lays him flat, and TGC finish out the map.
Wow. And that looks a lot like what we saw in Dorado, just sides flipped, right? I mean, we saw the force change, you know, having, of course, the Roadhog involved with that, just forcing the pressure forward, having, of course, Kiko on the Reinhardt as well. And with those couple of really pivotal picks, I would say, especially when they were able to get some displacement going with the whole hog at the very end there where everything started going sky high. They threw Chazzy up in the air, and I mean, that was pretty much all the opening that they really needed. Now, as we see sides swap, have to expect that there's going to be a Sombra in play, and that is going to be the case. On the attacking side, it looks like it's going to be a 4-tank strat. At least it seems that way. And I'm curious to see what Zerko is going to wind up playing. I have to imagine this is going to be a Lucio. But, you know, we've been surprised before, so...
Indeed the case, Urix, as TGC looking to make a hold here. If they do make the hold, they will tie it up 1-1 here in the semifinals and push us to a game number 3 on Numbani. However, Genesis going to try to push the distance. They did. We didn't actually see them push the distance. They didn't. Actually, they did. They were on offense first. Excuse me, on Dorado. So they did push the distance here. I'm expecting them to do the same here and see if they can finish with over a minute. Trying to make sure that they're the only ones with an opportunity to push. But we'll see what Hegler is going to bring out. That's kind of the question mark for me. He is currently hovering that Zarya.
Seems like it's likely that he's going to go with this. I think the only person that's going to change is going to be Zerko. And again, yes, it is going to be the Lucio. So a classic 4-tank attack approach going for this first point on Hollywood. And they just want to open this up quickly. They don't want to allow Javian to have time to get his ultimate up. They don't want to deal with any EMPs. But look at who Javian tries to hack out. If he finds the D.Va somehow, that could be an opening for them. But it's very difficult in this particular situation. And Kitch, luckily, though, has already found an early right-click kill onto Ursats.
Kind of trading positions here. Brett as well going to be taken out of the mech, and that should spell defeat here for the offense. Maybe an opportunity to go out with a kill or two, but they're just feeding up the ult charge over to TGC. So not a bad start indeed, as Javion is up to 80+% on that EMP moving into this next fight here. That is beautifully set up for them. And an opportunity to, you know, try to get out ahead here.
Look at the ult charge on Lucio. Pretty much already ready to go with the sound barrier. I mean, he's at 97%, 98 now. They were able to get so much off of that, so much healing that came from the Lucio, who's probably on that healing aura for most of that, and then just getting tons of damage off because they're all just clustered up in him. But there it is. We already see ults coming out from the attacking side. That's going to be the Moira. He gets hacked out.
Oh, man. Schuster is untouched here. Finds a double with the pulse, and they are just going to clean it up once again here. Didn't even need to use the sound barrier as Lucio for the side of Genesis got like 6% from that push itself. He got hacked immediately once he got into that fight by Javion. So a terrific start. And he's already back up to 30+% here. It's 2:25 to go. This is looking like TGC well on their way to pushing this to a game 3. But Genesis, I expect them to be able to battle back here. See if they can get up to that Graviton surge to make something happen.
It's been taking them a while, though, because, you know, when they push in, some of that pressure has been alleviated almost immediately, but they're going to go right in aggressively again here. Hegler, you can see his charge very, very low even still.
They're going to lose their main tank in Chazzy, who goes down. It's still a 5-on-5 on the point. Still sound barrier not being dropped by Hello on Halo. Finally, it's going to go down as it connects with the remaining 3 teammates that are on the point with him. Sound barrier comes out here, but the EMP comes through at the perfect time from Javion, and they pull it back here. What a play coming out from the Sombra.
Kitch actually was just sneaking around in the first floor there, where we saw the Zarya. Hegler, he was able to get his Graviton up, but he was high charged, just staying away from the hack and the self-destruct that came out from Javion and Arc respectively, and Kitch was just sitting there. He just fell lower and just gave him the right click to dish out the kill. So Now as they go in for their next attack, I mean, this really has to be it. They have the self-destruct Graviton that could combo together if they wanted to, but they still have to deal with the shield of Kiko if they want to find kills with that. They don't really have anything to, you know, really solidify that unless they just, you know, throw the shield down completely. But there's the self-destruct down.
Can he find anything? Grabs one for himself. It's a trade on the Zen versus Zen right now, but they have the numbers advantage regardless. They don't have to worry about that pesky little Sombra hacking them all over the place. Kiko is able to go out with a kill, but Hurix, they will secure this first objective with about 40-ish seconds on the board here. So not quite what they wanted, I think, from Genesis, but it does buy them a little bit of time, an opportunity nonetheless. Try to get something done here and try to, you know, push all the way, but all their ultimates off the board. Hegler makes a move over to the Genji, something he did decent with before. No Widowmaker, of course. That's what we saw from him on Dorado. He was picking these guys apart, but Jevion gonna stick with the Sombra. 50+% does get dropped. Opportunity more than less, I'd say here for Ersatz and Hegler to try to get aggressive.
They do have control of high ground as well. And with Hegler on this Genji, they're just going to be kind of poking and prodding and waiting for that opportunity and then diving on it. But they've got 3 on right now, so they're going to be pushing this payload for free in the meantime. And swaps coming out as is pretty much necessary from TGC so that they can deal with this high ground control that they have. Obviously, no one's really going to be taking a lot of advantage from that, but still, they don't want to just give that up for free and have that be a safe haven for the tanks to go up to get heals.
They are going to be a little bit of a split push. It's Hegler way in the back with the Diva Bread, finding a kill onto Kitch. Meanwhile, on the payload, they're doing just fine. We'll see if they do lose their Lucio. It's going to be the case here, but kills are favoring them right now. They aren't really sitting on a whole lot. They do have a pulse bomb. Meanwhile, Kitch coming back into the fray, probably going to wait with the rest of the squad. Sitting on a Transcendence could be big for this next engagement. They do have an opportunity nonetheless, though, to try to hold before this second checkpoint.
They are surging right now, Storm. I mean, Chazzy right here is going to have the Primal Rage. He's going to be holding this right now. And we will see the Sombra come through. Hack comes out. That's the EMP. Can they find the kills in it?
Wolf's Bomb not going to stick there from Schuster, but it didn't really need to. They clean it up with ease. As wow, that was a team kill across the board. 120 to go. So again, not much time. Dragon Blade is going to be coming up in a little bit here, but again, it's going to be into a Sound Barrier and Transcendence, which, you know, we really probably aren't going to see a whole lot get done with that. So it's going to be up to Sots to try to force that out from Kitch with a Pulse Bomb more than likely.
We've seen how TGC can get a lot done with Kitch holding onto a Transcendence in the second stage of a map. I mean, we just saw it on Dorado. And now we'll have to see if they can get the job done here. And that's a very early forced out Transcendence by Chazzy just to start the fight off.
Yeah, I think he just initiated it because of that Sound Barrier. Now they're going to drop the beat on the defensive side, but it's going to be into a Dragon Blade. Can he find anything? Looking for one in the back. No! Schuster comes to the rescue, able to save the Sombra, and they will hold strong here on defense. It's Arc looking to wrap up a few remaining kills, picks up a triple for himself. 25 seconds to go. And Hurix, they used everything that they had. Hegler over to 76, Bread and Fix, the only people with something to work with, maybe an opportunity nonetheless. Are we going to go to a game 3, or are they going to get that 90 seconds to try to push it 2.3?
It's a difficult one to call. You have to think that at this point, you know, they should be able to make the stop, but we do see Genesis holding on to a Transcendence. They are getting aggressive. They're forced to pop that very early. Ersatz needs that healing. He's going to get it. The hack comes out, but he's safe for now.
Pick up 2 for themselves. Halo is out, but there's the EMP coming out from Jevin. Immediately, he falls after. And with that, Hurix, they do manage to pull it together at the last possible second. Bread didn't even need to use his ultimate. And they're going to get 90 seconds to push it, which, again, isn't much time. But we saw the same thing happen for TGC. They basically got that second checkpoint in overtime, and they were able to, you know, complete the map. So with that in mind, Jevion going to get that EMP back up here as he just used it in the last fight, but that's going to probably be a big one with a minute to go here.
I mean, we saw some great usage of a Roadhog to finish the map and complete it out, but now just holding onto this high ground, we see 3 up top for the defense at the moment. They're just going to throw that right up there. I don't know about the positioning on that to get that reset from Bread. They are still trying to push this forward. They still have someone on there getting a lot of damage out early, and Ursats did find themselves an opening pick. That's a big opening because that opens up the ability to jump onto that Zenyatta, and then that forces out the Transcendence as well.
They're going to move in off of this Jazzy with that Primal Rage, trying to knock him about. Kitch is going to get dropped, force out a self-destruct, not quite where they wanted it. And a Tactical Visor now comes through. Hegler on the payload, picks up 2. The D.Va isn't there to contest, and he's going to be forced back into the base. 15 seconds to go. Can they even get on the payload? Schuster going to try for it. D.Va is here. They don't even touch Yurix, and they complete the map. And we're heading to another round here to see if Genesis can take it or if TGC forces a game 3.
We saw Genesis push it into another gear at the end. They were able to finish out with just a little bit of extra time, 15 seconds. But, I mean, given what we saw out of these two teams, you have to think that on the attack, and it won't be first, we'll see that next. If we do see Genesis attack here, and we will, I mean, I don't expect a 4-tank strat. It just didn't work. I mean, it just didn't. And on their defense, we did see a lot of good stuff coming out initially from the Sombra, but I think the teams are going to be able to adapt from that, both sides, actually, which is something I don't often say, both sides being able to adapt to something. But I think that is going to be the case here. And I think for the most part, what we're going to see is TGC not falling into that same trap as before, where they went, you know, lower, got caught on both sides, allowed a lot of time for some positional readjustment from Genesis to kind of swarm them, get around on all sides, and then just kind of choke them out in that tiny confined space with the dive comp. Now they're running a dive comp of their own, but at the moment, at least, it is with an offensive Sombra of their own. So, you know, if we do see Arc getting pressured out by Hegler very early on, which is what we saw the last time, perhaps they can have some answers themselves and kind of equalize that to some degree.
60 seconds to do something here. TGC need to get work done. Trying to head to a game 3 on Numbani here in the semifinals. Hegler gonna be a pest, I'd imagine. Ooh, up top is Ursats maybe trying to get away with a little bit of damage. Not quite gonna find Schuster. Almost gets dropped. Is able to recall to safety, but these health packs are, of course, hacked by Hegler. They kind of deny a little bit of that healing, more than likely, but 30 seconds already down here, so they need to make a move if they even want a second push at this point.
And they're struggling to deal with these flankers. Hegler and Ursats are definitely the focus at the moment, but I mean, if you can't deal with them, they're going to clean your whole team up, and that's exactly what happened with Ursats, and there's another hack going on to Schuster. That will solidify the kill, and they're just going to take their sweet time with the last few. 10 seconds remain, and you're waiting on respawns right now.
Yeah, that's not good at all. Arc and Kitch still down. They're going to be forced to move into this. No ultimate's really ready. Ursats is coming up on a pulse bomb and fixes 20% off from his ult, but Kiko immediately gets dropped. They are just going to try to pile onto the point itself, but it's not really going to do much here as they, you know, like you said, they struggled to make an attempt to get on the point. Then they got caught out of position. Doomfist coming in, not going to be able to get there in time. And 33% is all they will need from Genesis to move into the finals here.
We could see that the idea, the strategy that they had in mind was go in, buy time for your DPS to win the duels against theirs. Take the Tracer duel, take the, you know, jump your Sombra in, and then try to put some pressure onto whatever they have. They saw that there was a defensive Sombra in play, just as we saw the last time they tried to attack from Hegler. And you know, as soon as they saw that, they were like, okay, put some pressure onto that Sombra, maybe force out his recall a little bit sooner, and then, you know, maybe we alleviate some of the pressure from their damage, and then we have the advantage. But they didn't get either of those things done. So as soon as we saw Sombra come out of invisibility, instantly pressured out, forced the recall out. From their side, there was support for Hegler on the point, so he doesn't really take too much pressure at all. On top of that, you also have the duel between the two Tracers, and they just weren't able to get ahead in that department either. Ursats was able to, for the most part, deal with that. Took a little bit of pressure, but was able to fall back to the rest of his team, and then when he did actually fall back to the rest of his team, was able to easily clean up Hello I'm Halo and Kiko, I believe. So 2 very, very important kills in that first fight, and really just nothing gained with their strategy that they had in mind. Now as we look to the first attack, it looks like a full dive, as Hegler is going to be on the Genji. Ursats, of course, going over to the Tracer. But remember, they only have a minute 15. However, they only have to get 33%.
If we do see a tie here, we will head to a best of 3 on Nepal for the map itself rather than heading to Numbani. So it'll be interesting to see if that's going to be the case. So looking to make a move in here with Hegler. Like you said, on the Genji, a little bit of a change up from last time. as Ersatz tries to go around the backside. Again, no Sombra here for the defense, so got to keep that in mind. It's what they had last time to be able to hold so well, so efficiently, but they're going to dive into the cafe. Can they find anything? Not quite going to be the case right away. They do manage to disperse them on the point itself here. It's no kills in the bag, though. Schuster are about to go down. They lose Fix and the mech, and this is looking like the defense going to make a stand. 30 seconds to go. Die off if you're on the offense. Look for one final attempt.
Yeah, because they have had that extra 15 seconds, you can see how, you know, based on the speed, the pacing of that fight, they're able to give themselves one more opportunity. So that 15 seconds that they got at the very end is so important at this stage, especially because look at the ultimates that they're getting up right now. They're getting their support ults up. Transcendence is very, very close, 10% away. A good right click will easily finish the job, and you can see that doing just that right there. And saving Chazzy as well. They'll have the blade coming up right now.
They finish it. Hegler trying to do it. Has the support of that Transcendence. Ersatz, he finds one. Schuster goes down. It's a 6-on-4. Can the self-destruct grab any kills? They need to get back onto the point itself. Arc comes out. He's shut down immediately as he tries to drop the whole hog here. It looks like they've got this in the bag. The last second push, the save coming out from Fix and Hegler. And we are going to be seeing Genesis Esports take the map and move into the finals here tonight.
Oh, that was incredibly close, man. That was so close to going to a map 3, or at least obviously the tiebreaker to determine if we were going to hit that. But TGC definitely looked a lot better here on Hollywood. Very, very close, but ultimately it's Genesis Esports taking it, and some excellent displays from their DPS primarily, I would say, to be able to secure that one there.
Well, they're going to be facing Atmosphere Esports as anticipated here, and they are certainly going to have to step up their game.